All right, RJ. We didn't have to wait too long to get the first win in Kraken franchise history, a 4-3 win over the Nashville Predators, and it was a good game.
It was. Yeah, another back and forth game. And for all the talk of, the Kraken being this team that's going to be a 2-1, low scoring games and all this stuff, we've had a couple exciting 4-3 games so far.
Yeah, no, they really have. Grubauer with some incredible saves there at the end. Some really clutch saves there. Got a couple power play goals in this game. Never thought we'd see two power play goals in the same period. At least not this
I
early in
know,
the
right?
season, the way it had been going. But those were good to see. But yeah, just a fantastic win. Kraken, were basically in control of this game the whole time. It felt like, and yeah, I mean, when we're not playing Vegas, which is arguably the best team in the league, this is what we're going to see. This is why we're pumped. We think the Kraken are going to do really well, really well this year.
Absolutely. And I think you saw the difference between, playing an elite team and then a more middle of the pack team, right? So this is a good kind of secondary measuring stick for the Kraken too.
Yeah, and Nashville, they're a good defensive team, kind of like the Kraken up front, where they can like death by 1,000 cuts you. They don't necessarily have that one scorer who's going to score a ton, but they just have depth all the way up and down the lineup, and we saw that tonight, as we're seeing already in the chat. Brandon Tanev, raven-haired trickster god, he had a couple goals tonight. Multiple goal game for Brandon Tanev. No wonder we won, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I gotta love Brandon Tanev's game and you know, putting himself in the right spot for both of his goals, really on the power play. I like seeing him on the second unit power play. Going to the net, being in the right spot, and then for the empty net goal, just setting himself right up in front, and making no mistake.
Yeah, always good to have somebody there who can kind of do that dirty work right up in front. Now, we're already seeing it in the comments section. Third period was a little rough. I felt like that was the one period where the Kraken weren't, solidly on top through the game. But Grubauer, like I said, he made some pretty clutch saves. Ideally, you don't necessarily want him to have to make some of those saves. And then there was that goal late, that third goal for them. But, it wasn't as bad as it could have been, that third
Right,
period.
and well, that's what I wanted to talk to you about with the third period because I use the term holding on, holding on for dear life, and that's basically they only had one shot on goal in the period, and it was the empty net goal. So they never didn't even have a shot onto a man net. So they kind of dropped into their defensive structure and just tried to hang on, which obviously you don't want to do it that with still like 20 minutes to go that early in a game. But as far as what I saw of that defensive shell, it looked good. They generally did a good job of keeping the puck out of high danger areas, I thought. And like I was pleased with how it looked. I just wanted them to maybe keep their foot on the gas for a little longer than they did.
Yeah, exactly. As we're seeing, we had a perfect shooting percentage in the third period. Yeah, let's go ahead and talk defense as you're talking about that. We had a little bit of a change up. We had talked after the last game about the defensive pairings. They were, fairly new. Felt like there was some chemistry issues in this game. We had Hayden Fleury taken out for Carson Soucy. He played with Mark Giordano up top. What do you think about that?
Well, see Flurry be the guy who was taken out. As we talked about after last game, I kind of liked his game. I thought he did a good job paired with Giordano, as good as you could have expected him to do on his offside. I liked what I saw from Carson Soucy as far as the physicality and kind of clearing the puck out of the front of the net. But I thought that pairing was lacking as far as getting the puck out of their own zone, especially early in the game. And it's just something where they weren't able to move the puck as well as I would have liked. I want to see Soucy in the lineup. I like what he brings, but I don't know about him on that pairing. What do you think, Dylan?
Yeah, and it was one of those things where we had talked about. We thought Hayden Fleury actually had a good game that last game. Holy
Yeah, we
cow,
did.
those notifications are
Yeah.
going crazy. Is that over on your end?
Oh, yeah, probably. I've got my. I'm looking at the chat up here on my phone. Whoops. Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, so uh that's yeah, I thought Hayden Fleury played a good game. I liked Carson Soucy. I thought he was really good at kind of clearing the net front, which I felt was one of those things that the Kraken kind of struggled with in that Vegas game. One def- oh my gosh.
What?
Was that it just happened again? Is that still you? I should.
I don't think.
It's yeah. I don't know. Um, we'll try to figure that out while we're talking. But yes, I thought Carson Soucy filled that role as that guy who can clear out the front of the net, particularly on the penalty kill. And I felt that was something that the Kraken were missing in that first game. So I was really happy to see that from him. Still not thrilled with Jeremy Lauzon. That was,
Yeah, I'm not either. And okay, if you noticed on that on the first Predators goal off that face-off, again, he's playing the left side and he jumps too far right. It's the same problem we saw against Vegas, where he's got to learn what side he's on. And on that play, he's just trying to go in and get the puck because it's right there. But he hesitates a little bit. He doesn't get there fast enough. So again, it's that younger player, rookie mistake type of things that I think he needs to clean up a little bit. But right now, it's costing the Kraken, at times.
Yeah, and again, it was that kind of drifting away from the front of the net. He's not kind of keeping his head on a swivel. He's not playing the man. He's trying to play the puck, even if Vince Dunn is already engaged with the puck handler from the other team. So it's just kind of some of those basic things you'd like to see cleaned up a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it's just hard to argue with a win. All right.
Yeah. So are we good on the? Are we good on the move? I like silenced my phone completely.
No, they're still happening like crazy. I'm trying to figure out where they're coming from.
Okay, so I don't think it's. Yeah, I don't think it's me then. Dylan, is that your Tinder? Someone at your Tinder, bro? Is it?
Yeah, totally.
That must be right. That's got to be it.
Postgame live really gets everybody going.
Anyway, yeah, let's.
Yeah, you let's just talk about the game.
Okay. Yeah, even though he gave up one late, still so hyped about Gruby. Yeah, Grubauer at the end. I mean, he was dialed in, and when you fall back into that defensive structure like they did in the third period, you have to have a good goalie to make that work. You have to have a goalie. We talked about making timely saves last game, and that maybe would have liked to see more timely saves. Grubauer did exactly that in the third period, where the Predators had a few really good chances. The few that they did get kind of past the defense, Grubauer just stopped those, and he just looks so calm. When he's on his game, he just looks so calm, like there's no chance you're going to get to him. So I loved what I saw from him there. Yeah, I agreed. That defensive shell doesn't work without some good goaltending from him. The Kraken are fortunate that they have that, and you don't want to rely on that all the time, but that's why you pay him what you pay him.
Yeah, those some of those saves at the end were really, really good. I agree with chat. It's got to be Discord. Unfortunately, I can't totally get in there to figure out exactly where everything's coming through on Discord, because that's what we're using to talk to each other. So without totally interrupting the stream and everybody, digging through Discord with me, hopefully they'll just stop here for a sec. I have no idea what's going on Discord that's causing all that. Yeah. So one moment I wanted to talk about a little bit towards the beginning was we got the first power play goal in Kraken history, but we also had the first fight in Kraken history when Vince Dunn, of all people, dropped the gloves, and I thought that was pretty interesting, especially because he
was off of a hit.
Yes, it was a big hit that he makes. Predator comes over to defend his teammate. And, Jeremy Lauzon was right there willing to fight for Vince Dunn, but Vince Dunn said, no, I got this. It's all good. And, the fight was a draw. You love the fighting spirit from Dunn, but, he's pretty valuable to this team as the big offensive threat from the blue line.
And it scared me a little bit because he went into the room right afterward for repairs, and I'm like, oh no,
yeah,
you never know. You could break a hand in a fight. You never know. But yeah, Vince Dunn stepping up early, and it was cool because he fought in the preseason too. I believe it was that game in Kent where he fought. So he's not afraid to drop the gloves, if need be, which is a cool element that he brings to his game. You don't see a lot of defensemen like him that are willing to do that.
Yeah, yes, he had that cut there. My only thing was, if Jeremy Lauzon's willing to take that fight for you, you're a little more valuable than he is right now. I was like, go ahead, let him take that fight. One of the other things we had in this game was Barry Boulet making his Kraken debut, playing, and he looks really good.
Yes, this is basically what I expected from him and what I was hoping to see. Yeah, I mentioned as soon as he got picked up, I'm like, this is going to get lost in the news with the captaincy announcement and the COVID stuff on the same day. But Barre Boulet could be a huge get for the Kraken. He provides skill and some scoring and playmaking ability that they're going to need. And he kind of showed, I think, where he belongs in the lineup, and that's playing in the top six with some skilled players that can find ways to get open. And you saw that on his assist, getting the puck back, from the other team and sending it to a wide open Wenberg, but having the vision to see that.
Exactly. No, I thought his passing was top notch. Wenberg on that goal, he got a goal off of a kick, but he did it the right way. Unlike some other teams out there, right? He kicked it up to his stick and then put it home. But yeah, I think he's gonna do really well there. I like the playmaking aspect that he can add, and I like him on the wing for right now also a little bit. So that was exciting for sure. Jumping back kind of over here in the chat, we'll start with this one from Jared about Tanev getting close to that first hat trick in Kraken history. Who would you bet gets the first hat trick for the Kraken? Right now, I'm going to say McCann, just because he's been pretty hot. He's finding ways to score off of the other team consistently.
Yep, he's got 2 goals in 2 games. He's looked really good, and he's created a lot of offense too. I believe he's their points leader at this point, especially with that assist on the last goal. Yeah, I could see McCann. I think it's got to be one of those guys from that line, McCann, Schwartz, or Eberle, just whoever gets an extra bounce, in a game where they're creating a lot of offense. My initial pick would probably be Schwartz, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it was McCann.
Yeah, McCann just seems the most shoot happy of those guys right now. Like
That
he's
is true.
launching from everywhere. That goal he scored was basically from the point. So yeah, I just think shooters got to shoot, and when you shoot, you score goals. That's kind of what I was saying last post game, and it's working out for him pretty good. One of the things also kind of going back to the defensive shell that they played that third period, the kind of almost prevent type defense that they decided to drop into there, kind of hit on something that I thought kind of needs to be talked about with the Kraken, which is it doesn't feel like they have a ton of systems in place still. Like their transition game is very discombobulated. It feels like the defensemen don't really know where to go consistently with the puck as far as breaking it out of the zone. It feels like each forward line is kind of trying to do different things. There isn't a cohesive plan. And we've talked about the power play kind of being in that same, obviously there's the system, the 1-3-1 system in place, but there's not like a regular kind of this guy's going to take the shot, we're going to make sure we drift the defense away from him and then set up the Ovechkin one-timer, so to speak.
And it's something that they just didn't have a whole lot of time to get in depth with systems in training camp. It's just kind of the nature of how it goes. And I think this would be like an obvious talking point, if not for Vegas and how they started and everything, where you've still got to remember this is an expansion team, right? They've never played together before. But I think it's a good sign that they have enough talent that they're able to be in close games and winning games even without a whole lot of systems intact. And I think that's only going to get better as the season goes on.
Oh yeah, once they figure out what system they want to run, what everyone's comfortable with, and then it becomes second nature for everybody, so everyone knows exactly where each other's going to be on the ice. It's just going to take this team to that next level where I think you start seeing those 1-goal games in their favor against some of those top teams like Vegas. Hopping back over to chat, Sergeant Pickles, 3 stars for tonight. He's got McCann, Gruby, and Tanev. Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty good 3. I definitely think Grubauer deserves to be there after some of those saves. Tanev for sure needs to be there. Yeah, and I do like the McCann pick. I felt like he really helped drive a lot of the offense. I could see giving it to Barry Boulet. I thought he did a lot. Yeah, he just had the 1 assist, but I thought he did a lot on offense as far as creating chances for them. And, you just like that from the young kid coming into the lineup.
Yeah, Barre Boulet is the one I was going to mention. If aside from the 3 that Sergeant Pickles mentioned, scrolling up a little bit though, I love the kiss Tanev blew to the hostile crowd after his first goal. Yes, I saw that after the goal. Like, this is great. Fan favorite Brandon Tanev. Gotta love it.
Yeah, and that's some of the attitude you want. I think it's good to have some of that as an expansion team coming in, we want an identity. If that's going to be the identity, I think that's okay. It's not overly disrespectful. It's not like, we're coming in there with Tom Wilson from the Capitals and we're just going to try to, hurt your star player every night or anything, right? It's 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 fairly, like you said, it's just cheeky, it's just fun, and I like
Doesn't
that.
hurt anyone.
Yeah.
Despite what the Vegas bench will tell you, despite what Mark Stone says, it doesn't hurt anyone, and it's not a problem. We didn't get that on. We didn't get to talk about that on the last stream because it was just kind of coming out in the post game pressers. But yeah, the whole celebration controversy, and I mean, thoughts on that one, Dylan, real quick.
Yeah, it's stupid. I thought of it yesterday, and we talked a little bit about it, you and I. But I think that was all just them trying to create a different narrative to get people not to talk about the kicked in goal. I think that was all just a deflection tactic. They're just going to be like, oh, yeah, but we were just out there playing hard because, this geeky kid made an excellent play against us. And then, he had the gall to slightly glance over to us as he skated by, as opposed to, doing the customary skate way around our bench on the way to his bench,
Yeah, like no one does that, and yeah, I mean, my first thought was like, what is this, baseball? Like, don't even baseball's getting past the whole you can't celebrate, it's disrespectful thing. I just, yeah, but it's good to see tonight that the Kraken weren't fazed by that or anything. That they're not taking it to heart or anything. So I like to see that.
Right, and I was going to bring up with the Tanev thing. I've been harping on this forever. Let players show emotion. I don't understand why through it's kind of all sports they don't want players to show emotion. As you mentioned, baseball, right? Forever they've always wanted to try to silence the more charismatic, excited guys. Football with the taunting penalties, all that stuff, and it's like we want these players to go out there, give the 110% effort, right? All the stereotypical stuff about how hard we want them to play. We want them to do nothing in their off time but, watch film and try to get better and practice and, take the 1,000 slap shots that Shea Weber takes after every practice or whatever. But then, the moment that something happens, we don't want them to celebrate. We don't want them to get upset after a loss. We don't want them to do anything. We want them to turn into robots the moment something happens. And I've never understood that aspect. And it's really a narrative driven, I feel, more so by sports media these days than anything. But celebrations are awesome, especially in a sport like hockey where, that's part of what's the one thing everyone loves about hockey. It's watching the game live. It's the energy of the arena, the speed of the game, the fact that when a goal goes in, it's just this electric moment. And then to try to dampen the celebrations, I don't know. I take issue with that. Yeah, I'm seeing in the chat there's a difference between a celebration and being a jerk about it. I do agree. I don't think you need to, go up and be like, right in the goalie's face, like, you totally, got one over on him or something. But I'm okay with a little kiss to the crowd, especially, when a crowd is really harping on you specifically. I'm sure Brandon Tanev gets that a lot from a lot of crowds. So I like that a lot. But, that's just something that's bothered me forever. The one moment that sticks with me, and then I'll move on, is after that Super Bowl that Cam Newton lost, and he was crying and didn't really want to talk to the media, and then everyone pitched a fit that he was crying and didn't want to talk to the media. It's like he just lost the biggest game of his life. And he just lost the Super Bowl. I want my quarterback to be crying, right? That means he cares. I want the players of my team to care. If the Kraken lose the Stanley Cup, I want them to be emotional about that, because it means they're going to come back that next year and play harder, and it means they're as invested in it as I am as a fan. So I like to see that stuff. I like to, let the players be passionate. The last 10 minutes were super hard to watch. It's icing is just one of those things, especially as guys get tired. You're just, trying to clear the puck out of your zone. You're trying to get something going, and it's just rough.
It's where it just doesn't connect, and you're just trying to relieve the pressure there, and sometimes it goes all the way down. And but that's that comes with the territory when you go into that defensive shell and you're not, you're on your heels instead of on your toes. So that's something, again, you don't mind seeing in the last few minutes of the third as you're hanging on, but you don't want it to happen that early in the period.
Yeah. Scrolling back up, Sergeant Pickles still worried about the defensive zone turnovers. Hope they solve what D pairs they want, and hopefully just more game reps and communication. Agreed. I still think that's something that needs to be figured out. As we mentioned, the Dunn Lauzon thing is just not working, and it feels like it's more so Lauzon than Dunn. I felt that Alexiak Larson was a lot better this game though. They seem to have a better idea of where each other wanted to be at any given time. Alexiak very aggressive in the offensive zone.
He was, and a few times even getting in on the forecheck, and
Mm-hmm.
it's one of those where you like to see, as a fan, you like to see it because I mean, I just it's enjoyable, right? It's fun to see him with the big body going down low, and and it's you hope it's the right read, and it usually has been. But yeah, it's just fun more than anything. That's the first thing I think of.
Yeah, and my obligatory let me praise Larson, the way he handled that Tanner Jeannot breakaway, where Jeannot actually like kind of sped up past him, so he was kind of getting behind Larson, but the way he just kind of like leaned into him and tried to almost give him an open ice hip check, but he just totally tied up Jeannot and got rid of that threat. That was a really really nice
That
play.
was so impressive to do that as clean as he did.
Yeah, to not take a penalty there, to body him up, to separate him from the puck as well. That was a really difficult thing to do, and he made it look very, very easy. So good to see there. Yeah,
Time for Borgen to get in. I'd
yep,
like to see that.
I think we're all kind of ready for Borgen to get in there, especially the way that the defense seems to want to be a little more active in the offense. I think Borgen could handle that better than Lauzon. Lauzon had a couple, he had clean looks from the point and he did take them. One of them I thought might squeak in over Saros's, I guess his left shoulder. But yeah, I want to see what Borgen can do, especially after we saw Susie tonight and he looks pretty good. And we thought Fleury looked pretty good in that first game.
I just hope it's in favor of Lazan and not taking Susie out.
I do too, and it'll be interesting to see. I am really perplexed by that decision to take out Hayden Fleury to put Susie on that top pairing.
Yeah, I just don't understand. I mean, we talked about how good Fleury looked at given what the role was last time. Although I understand you want to put Susie in, totally get that, but I just don't see how looking at it, Hackstall thought, okay, yeah, that Dunn Lauzon pair is the one I don't want to break up rather than the Fleury Giordano pair.
Right, and I'm checking the numbers right now, the time on ice numbers, and
Oh yeah, because the
yes,
Giordano pair wasn't getting first pairing time on ice. It was Larson
exactly.
Alexiak that was leading.
Exactly, and I wanted to double check that because that was definitely what I was sensing as I was watching. I wanted to double check it, but yeah, that was, I did feel like that was their strongest deep pair tonight, and obviously Hackstall felt the same way. Um, I didn't look at the end of the first period. I'd love to see if that was just as the game went on, he leaned into the Larson
Mhm.
Alexiak pairing, or if that was kind of the plan all along. But I thought that was a pretty good pairing, and they did pretty well
I
tonight.
know Alexiak were leading after two periods, so I'll say
Okay.
that.
I was thinking that Wenberg might be my forwards that we could get rid of to make way for someone better, but now tonight was a good night for him, and his face-off ability seems good. Yeah, I don't think that they were gonna get rid of Wenberg just because they signed him to that free agent deal. Generally, you know, a couple games into the season might be a little early to do something like that. Uh, I've been talking the last couple of weeks about how he hasn't looked like he's really integrated himself into the lineup. He's always looked a little off from his wingers and stuff, but I thought he played really, really well with Bari Boulay tonight. So I want to see them together. Donskoy, he can build chemistry with anybody. He's just a really smart player. He's so adaptable to anything. Um, so I thought Wenberg had a good night tonight. He is good on the face-off circle, and
And I
he
liked
knows
his
where to be.
passing tonight too, his vision. I mean, that's something that we saw early in training camp, but he hadn't really gotten the chance to use it much in the preseason. But I think it was where his wingers were giving him opportunities to make those passes.
Exactly. That felt like certainly their most creative forward line. As far as once they were established in the offensive zone, really trying to do things, really trying to move the defense, trying to move the goalie side to side. Um, it felt a little bit like the McCann, Eberle, Schwartz line was a little more just like we're just gonna go hard to the net and see what happens kind of thing. But I liked the fun that they were having, that Wenberg line, and obviously you got the goal out of that.
Yep, absolutely.
Kraken are getting a lot of goals for a team that will have trouble scoring. Yes, scoring will get tougher as the season goes on, but it is one of those things that, as I was kind of saying, death by 1,000 cuts. This lineup isn't, there's not a lot of first line guys on this team, but there's a lot of second and third line guys, right? So you might not see a ton of 30, you might not see any 30 goal scorers, but you'll see a handful of 20 goal scorers, and you'll see a lot of 10 goal scorers. I think this is a lineup that can easily produce. They had that one stat on the Root Sports broadcast, which I think we should talk about a little bit later too, where at 1.12 Kraken players already this season with a point, showing just how deep this team could be. So when the team is really sound defensively, Grubauer, Drieger stepping up in net, keeping the game close, you just need someone to step up. And with this lineup, they have enough guys that are capable of stepping up that I think on any given night they can find one or two to do just that.
Yeah, I agree. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Do you think they're showcasing Lausanne for a trade? Possibly. It wouldn't surprise me.
Right. That I did think that during this game was that, okay, the reason they keep playing him is because they want to move him. The problem is he's playing so bad. I don't think it's if you're
there's always a risk reward to doing that, right?
It's tanking his value, I would assume.
If only he had taken that fight, if he had just fought, like there'd be another GMs that just say, "Oh yeah, I love the toughness. I'll trade for him."
Yeah, despite the swap, Soucy impressed me. Several nice outlet passes to get out of the zone. Yeah, that's the one thing with Carson Soucy. We knew that from his Minnesota days. He's one of those advanced stats analytic darlings where he can, his Corsi and Fenwick numbers are so good because he can get the puck out of his zone. And, as we've been seeing with this Kraken team, that is a valuable thing to do. And it's not just something that everyone does inherently. So it's been good to see. I did like that aspect of Soucy's game. I do want to see him in the lineup. It's just I also after what Fleury showed us, I think he should also be in the lineup too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just going to go with the, keeping up the pace. Other teams have had systems and players in place for seasons. It will get harder, but we have, a lot of room to grow. Exactly. Every other team has had a cohesive lineup that has played together largely for at least a season, right? This is one of those things. If you look at a calendar, it's been a month now since the Kraken have all been skating together. Not even
Yeah,
it's crazy to think about that, between training camp, preseason, and now into the regular season, it's really only been 3 weeks that this team has been together, having to get to know each other on and off the ice, trying to, just the amount of work. Yeah, the amount of work.
And they're already beating the Predators, and they're already, giving Vegas a close game. So, but I think there's a lot of room to grow.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Preds jerseys are terrible. I'm going to have to disagree with you on this one. I think they're cool. I like the whole yellow thing. You go in yellow heavy. What do you think, Dylan?
Yeah, there's just not a lot to break it up in certain spots. Like if you think of some of the older Predators jerseys, remember they'd have like the blue striping kind of to separate the shoulder section. Right now there's none of that, so it just kind of all bleeds through. So I can see it being a little bit too much yellow and kind of lacking for overall design on the jersey. After Columbus scored 8 goals, when do you think we see Dreger's first game?
Columbus had tonight, by the way. Yeah, they beat the Coyotes. What was it, 8-2, 8-3?
Yeah.
And that's the Kraken's next opponent.
Yeah. Hopefully they got it all out of their system.
Exactly.
As I'm not too worried about that happening consistently from them. I don't know. They have a lot of good pieces, but maybe it was just because last year everything was so rough with the whole Torts thing that everybody was just out of it. But we'll see Saturday. As far as when we'll see Drieger, I don't know. I mean, Grubauer played well tonight.
He did. I mean, and I think he did well enough to earn another start. I would still put Drieger in soon. And we talked about this after last game that you have a goalie tandem. You got both these guys. You want to use them both, and don't kind of fall into the trap of just riding one of them, too much early in the season. You got to let both guys get into a rhythm.
Yeah. So I wouldn't have a problem seeing him in this Columbus game. Otherwise, the obvious place will be next week when we have the Philly game and then the New Jersey game back to back.
Yeah, in the back to backs, I can't imagine the same goalie would start both. So we'll see him for sure then.
Yeah. Like to see how the offense shifts when Yanni Gourde gets in there. Yeah, I think he's going to be the key to figuring out what kind of transition team they're going to be.
Yeah, agreed. And certainly with his speed in transition and moving the puck, just what he does from the middle of the ice, he's just going to provide this new element that they don't fully have right now. And yeah, I think he's going to unlock a lot of what they can do offensively.
Gosh, can you imagine him with Donskoy?
Oh, that would be great. Let's see that, please.
They could do some really, really nasty stuff. And speaking of Donskoy, he had at least one, maybe 2 or 3 moments where he was looking nasty with the puck. Like that guy a lot right now. Yeah, and he's one of those guys. RJ, you and I know him mostly from his Shark days, but he's always been this fly under the radar, really creative, really smart player that can really bring a lot to a team.
Absolutely. I mean, he's just got these skillful kind of nifty little moves that he does. And the creativity. I mean, that's the word that always comes to me when I think of Donskoy, is the creativity that not a lot of players have. The ability to kind of think in the way that he does and then make it happen. So yeah, I agree with you fully on Donskoy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we're seeing it here. Colorado fan in the chat, wishing we'd taken other people instead. Some more praise from Donskoy. Yeah, he was definitely creative in the offensive zone today. Guys are working hard to prove themselves after being called second and third line guys of the past. Agreed, right? I mean, there's a lot of reasons for these guys to want to prove themselves. They were left exposed by their teams. That's a big one.
Every
right?
last one of them.
Yeah.
Well, okay, except except the guys
except
who
for
signed,
a couple of the
like,
free agents, but that's got to be one of those things that really gets you going. The fact that your team didn't think you valuable enough to protect. Maybe there was a couple situations where it was obvious that the team would have tried to. They were just so loaded, but those situations were very few and far between, I think. So some definite chips on everybody's shoulders, and that's always a good thing. Columbus fan, can't wait to watch the game Saturday. Really intrigued with your team. Love your all's jerseys. We love them too.
Yep.
These away jerseys have totally grown on me. Big fan of them now.
Yeah, I think I might even like them more than the home jerseys. And I always like the home jerseys better, but man, these away jerseys look so good.
Mm-hmm. Starting the season on the road after not having played together for long, they look really good. That is another aspect of all this, right? Having to start on this 5-game road swing to start the season. That's another thing we'll see in that that the kind of first homestand that they have, what the team looks like. But I think by then they'll have some of this other stuff figured out, so they can really come in and show Seattle what's up. Kraken are now smack in the middle of league standings and currently hold the last playoff spot in the Pacific. I think based on how they played against Nashville tonight, how they played against Vegas the other night, it only kind of solidifies in my mind in this Pacific division, barring some real surprise teams, and Anaheim won the other night and looked pretty good. This team should be okay at getting one of those top 3 spots.
Agreed, and it's been reassuring these past 2 games. We kind of projected the Kraken to be in one of those top 3 spots, but it's hard to know until you've kind of seen it on the ice a little bit. But yeah, they look about how we thought they would.
Yeah, for sure.
We're talking about the Coyote. But they were beating the Coyotes. Fair point. Still hard to score 8 goals in the NHL at a game. And they just looked like they were feeling it too. They had good chemistry going. It seemed like they're confident. They're playing confident right now.
Yeah, I mean, come on. The Coyotes got Phil Kessel. It's not like people can just walk all over Phil Kessel, right?
Of course
I'm only saying it because I have seen him live take over a game once, and it was impressive. So I know he's capable of it. Talk about Matthias. Yeah.
Mattis Kivlenieks. Yeah, I mean, he was someone who was on our watch list for a
Hmm.
while, and someone I kind of hoped the Kraken would take. And yeah, that's still tragic, but it was a good job by Elvis Merzlikins to honor him tonight.
Hmm.
Wearing the number 80, and yeah, I thought they did a good tribute to him tonight.
Yeah, it was nice to see. Uh, Questions for Jackets and Avs fans. Are we at least more likable so far compared to Vegas? That is one thing that will be interesting to see. Maybe not with the blowing kisses to the opposing crowds.
Yeah, I don't know what it is in the expansion, but I would hope so. At least we haven't. At least the Kraken haven't treated the player like the Golden Knights have done with Fleury and everything. It's early, but that sort of thing at least.
Just realized that nobody has played against their old team yet. Yeah, because Vegas didn't lose any players,
Right.
and Yarncroke
Yarncroke
was
was the
out.
one.
Yeah, Yarncroke was out against
I mean, at
Nashville,
least they're immediate. Oh yeah, no, you know what?
and it's not going to happen against Columbus either.
Yeah, Kraken legend Gavin Bayruth. They're no longer in the lineup. Actually, he's back in the Columbus
Columbus
system.
system, yeah, almost instantly right back to Columbus. So, who was the pick from Philly?
I mean, well then, okay, you've got Wenberg, who's a former Blue Jacket,
Yeah, but he
but
wasn't
not
even
not
with.
the team that like gave him up. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, it's not the same thing. Okay. So next, what do we have next? Is Philly?
Philly.
Arsen Tworinsky, who's down. All right.
Yeah,
Who's in
unless
Charlotte?
a big swath of injuries, which knock on wood, doesn't happen. So then we
Yep.
got New Jersey, Bastion.
Nate Bastion. There you
Yeah,
go.
so
All
Bastion
right.
against Jersey might be the first time we have someone in the lineup against the team that didn't protect him. Kind of interesting that would happen.
Right. That's great. I
Get
feel like that wasn't the case for. I'd have to go look back and look, but I feel like that wasn't the case for Vegas.
get 5 games in and have that happen. Thanks for bringing that up. That is a really
Yeah, that's
interesting
great.
fact and something to think about. Way more likable than Vegas. Your fan base feels like it's been around for decades. Smart hockey minds, and having the best threads in the league doesn't hurt. Thank you for saying that. We appreciate that. Yeah, that's good to hear.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, and yeah, and I think that's as far as the smart hockey minds. That's something we've seen in interacting with
Hmm.
Kraken fans that we've seen. There's a lot of people who know the game, and because there are a lot of people who've been playing hockey and watching hockey. We've got a couple junior teams, or a few junior teams in the area. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, and talk about being around for decades. Our the Seattle city name has been on the Stanley Cup for over 100 years. So Vegas can't quite lay claim to that one. Colorado actually has the best threads, but only while wearing their Nordiques alternates. Yeah,
those ones look good.
those do look really really good. Cheeseburger Phil, uh, Huggy's been here for
Hot dog Phil.
decades. Yeah, remember being a kid back in the '80s and early '90s, dreaming of a team here. Yeah, it is one of those things. Seattle, it's a big city to not have the NBA and the NHL for so long. Um, Obviously, the NBA wound is still fresh, all these years later. Thank God there have been WHL fans for decades at least. Yeah, I mean, Washington State's got 4 WHL teams. A lot of history there,
And
and
that's something that I was really impressed to see when I went to the games in Everett and Kent, just how developed of a fan base there was for those two teams, where you saw a lot of people who were kind of like new Kraken fans. Some of them, might not couldn't tell you everyone on the roster, but they could tell you everyone who was on the Silver Tips or the Thunderbirds for the last 5 seasons. Like, they were big fans of those teams. So that was really cool to see just how great of a junior hockey fan base has been built up there.
yeah, the Seattle Thunderbirds fan base was something that was even talked when I was, working with Portland. That was something that was talked about was the fan base that the Thunderbirds had, and there was respect there from the Winterhawks organization for that. So, yeah, hockey has been strong in the Pacific Northwest and in the greater Seattle area for a while now. Winberg killed us last year. Hope he doesn't continue that Saturday. Uh, I guess he
I
was
kind
really
of
good
hope he
against
does.
the. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind it either. Mildly concerned about losing Chislovsky to waiver claim with no return. We have so little depth outside the main roster, even though we are bound to lose players, need to be getting picks back. What do you think about that, RJ?
I'm not concerned because I'm surprised that it took as long as it did to waive Chalowski. I mean, he didn't do a whole lot, at least to show to me that I thought he deserved to stay at the NHL level. Clearly, the Capitals see something they like, but I'm not too concerned. And certainly, given the Kraken's defensive situation, we've talked about this. The depth they have. He was a ninth defenseman. They still have 8 guys. Most NHL teams don't carry 8 defensemen. But the Kraken still have 8. I still want to see Borgen get into the lineup. I just think he had so many guys to pass on that depth chart. I'm not too worried about it. I mean, yeah, I guess if the Capitals did value him, maybe. I don't know that the Kraken could have gotten a pick there, especially given the situation they were in. But yeah, I'm not too concerned.
Yeah, that's part of the problem with this whole moving out of defensemen in general thing is the whole league knows the Kraken have to do it at some point. Right, the Kraken have very little leverage in what's going on. I mean, part of the reason maybe we haven't seen it yet is just because it might take an injury somewhere else before teams are kind of willing to part with something that might approach a fair value for them. Because right now you might as well just kind of keep trying to hamstring the Kraken carrying an extra defenseman, knowing they got to make a move eventually. And in the waiver department, I'd say we're still coming out pretty good considering that's how we got Barry Boulet.
With Barry Boulet, yeah, I'll take it for sure.
Yeah. BCHL. Yeah, the BCHL has also been a good league up here.
Yeah.
Let's see.
What do we think about the Kings alternate now, though? Okay, so I have a Kings fan friend who he sent me a picture. He's like, "Oh, these are so clean. I love them." And like, there's no purple. I'm sorry, there's no purple. I want him to go back to the purple. It's only so good it can look if it's just black, white, and silver. That's my opinion. Sorry, Jimmy. I'll bet you today out here. Sorry.
Yeah. Me and my sister actually talked about this the other day. Because neither of us have been fans of the Kings, whatever you want to call it. The dreidel, the shield, the pencil tip, that whole like logo, whatever you want to call it. We haven't been fans of that forever. And just the black and silver aesthetic, right? It just doesn't fit. I get not wanting to go full purple and gold all the time. I totally understand not wanting to really go old school, but when they had the crown logo and they had purple as an accent color, I do think that was when the Kings jerseys were at their best.
Yeah, the purple, black, and silver.
I wasn't able to watch, but we got the first win. How'd they look? My boy Tanev got a goal. He got 2 goals.
He got 2 goals.
Yeah, Tanev was all over it. Team looked really, really good. Sorry you weren't able to watch. See further down on the chat, Root Sports problem again. Yeah. It's just one of those things. Again, everybody's kind of figuring out this, right? We've had our own Discord issues this evening.
Yeah.
But yeah, the team looked really, really good. Barring some, passive defensive play late in the game, trying to kind of sit on the lead a little bit. I thought the Kraken were in command a really, really long time.
Yeah. And as for watching the game, I think the next 5, 6, however many games are going to be on ESPN Plus, which should help for those who have it.
Yeah. Again, they can be considered blackouts in your local area. So if you do have ESPN Plus, I need to find a little bit of a way around that, but shouldn't be too hard for you. Random Epic Cup flex from 1917. We can just dunk on people who accuse us of being bandwagon. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know about you. I was at that game when they won the cup in 1917.
Oh yeah.
We all were, right?
Of course. We definitely were. And the team is embracing that. That's part of the reason why they went with the main crest on the jerseys that they did. They wanted to kind of keep the S for Seattle from those old Metropolitan sweaters. So, the team has embraced that history as well. Been on the Everest silver tip big screen a dozen times. Used to dress up in a wig, colors and stuff. Awesome.
That's great.
See, it's fans like you, Braun, that that make this game so great.
Absolutely.
Yeah, think of it this way: you traded Chalowski for Bari Boulay straight up. That's a win so far. Agreed.
I take that deal every time.
Does Chris D start next game? It's possible. If not, we'll see him on the back to backs next week, early next week, when we have Philly and New Jersey. All I see for the Kings is the Chevy logo. Yes.
Yep.
uh,
Yeah, they'll get triggered soon. He's too good to ride
yeah.
Pied. Yeah, they will.
The Burger King was a decent Kings logo. Again, I could see maybe not wanting to make that your main logo.
So bad it's good. It's in that category.
Exactly, but they should break it out every once in a while.
I had to sign up for some dodgy streaming site I've never heard of.
Yeah,
Yeah, I do wish it was easier.
yes, I think we all wish it was easier. It's it's just the world we live in. It's sports are an entertainment business, emphasis on business, and it is frustrating. But yeah,
Drinking, boys, how we doing in here? I've been drinking water.
yeah. Uh, I I had some. What did I have? Well, Gatorade, but yeah,
There we go.
we're
Yeah,
we're, we're really
we were just
exciting with
running on
this
Gatorade in
first
Vegas.
win.
Like that's all we had to drink all day was just a couple Gatorades.
That was definitely a lifesaver for us because that was
Oh yeah.
the quick turnarounds, both flights and all that, staying up with you guys past midnight on the live stream. That was pretty great.
Yeah. Then going out to grab a slice of pizza because we hadn't eaten in a while.
Uh, all right, let's see. Fubo finally has root, by the way. Okay, so that's another option for everybody. Um, Real quick, thoughts for the first root broadcast?
Um, yeah, I thought it was okay. I like the intermission. I like Allison Lucan. I think she does a great job. They have so many different people at the intermission thing. It can be kind of hard to. I don't know. You almost want maybe a more consistent, just voice instead of throwing to all these different people. John Forsland did his thing. We know what you're getting from him. I think JT Brown's easing in. It's one of those things that it's just going to take time, and for the chemistry to work out. And that's not even a comment on JT Brown really at all. It's just any pair of broadcasters. It's going to take time for the chemistry to get there. What do you think, Dylan?
Yeah, I actually thought they were better this game than they were throughout the preseason. Like, and I'm sure they went back, they watched some of those broadcasts. They learned from them. JT obviously being new to this position, I think that that is something that happens. I know broadcasters do that. It's just like an athlete; they're watching tape. I've done it for us here, right? But yeah, I thought overall the broadcast was better than the preseason, and I thought it was pretty good for their first ever game. I liked the graphics that they had better than the Espen ones from the other night. When I finally went back and watched some of those, those are pretty iffy. A lot of flat 2D graphics and yeah, some weird colors. The color that Espen has for the Kraken is very much a royal blue that doesn't really exist in the Kraken's stuff. So. The one thing I will say about the root broadcast with Forsland and JT's voice is deeper than Forsland, and when you're dealing with audio mixing, you do need to boost lower, deeper voices higher than the other ones. It sounded like they just tried to mix them to the same level, but you actually have to boost lower voices just for them to come in a little stronger, especially for someone like JT who is a little bit more soft-spoken. So I'll just throw that out there.
On the audio mixing, where else do you get that on a post game evaluation? Like, there you go. That's the level of detail you get here.
Just in case anyone from Rude is watching, you can go ahead and take that. Feels more like we traded Chalowski for Linz, but that's just an asset management concern. Yeah, I still think overall everything's pretty good. For everybody talking about that first Metropolitans win and then the 1919 situation, I see you all in chat. I actually did a really, really long time ago on the channel. One of the first things we did was I actually did kind of like a 2-part documentary type thing about the Seattle Metropolitans, and I kind of take you through the history of that whole, of the team and the Stanley Cups and all that stuff. They essentially could have had 3 straight cups there. They could have had a lot if it wasn't for, world wars, global pandemics, all that kind of stuff getting in the way.
Yeah, if you're interested in that story, go check that out. Dylan did a great job on that video. I watched it because I didn't see it until it was done, and there were a bunch of things I learned that I didn't know, I was like, and I called Dylan, like, Dylan, like, I didn't know all this stuff. Like, he's like, yeah, it's real.
Yeah, and we talk about Vegas maybe being a little bit, crybaby stuff. Try Montreal, talking about how they were bad when they came to Seattle because they had to walk on concrete and their players weren't used to it. That's some epic excuse making. Let's see. Everybody talk about their drinks of choice. It looks like.
Yeah.
Agree with the intermission stuff. Announcers were decent. Yep.
Sound of Hockey tweeted Gatorade flavor rankings. What's yours?
Oh, I don't know. I bounce around. I like, what's the light blue called? I don't know. Glacier.
The light, that's the
Frost?
best. The light blue is the best.
I don't remember what any of
Frost?
them
Is
are
it
called.
Frost?
It's like
Glacier Freeze,
Glacier
something like
Freeze,
that?
I think. So I'm a light blue guy, and most of my life I was not a lemon lime guy, but recently lemon lime.
You know what? Same. It's grown on me.
Yeah, and red has slowly fallen as I've gotten older.
Yeah, red used to be my favorite.
Root commentary was actually pretty fun in my opinion. One of the goals was "That's hockey, baby," and another time they said one of our guys, I think Wenberg, was a grinding
Oh,
king.
it was
funny.
Bastion, yes, and he's a grinding king. Yes, I remember. And that was on a play where like three guys tried to knock him down. He just kept going.
Yeah.
That was a good call.
Yeah, no, it was good. Yeah, watch it on NHL Network. Useless intermission reports. NHL Network's it's always an interesting watch. They could update the set or even have a separate one from baseball. Okay, I did have an issue with the set. That desk is glass on glass on glass. Like, it's just,
yes, it is.
It's just endless layering of glass, and I was kind of confused by that. That was, yeah. I was a little confused from that. It I don't know. It kind of made it look a little cheap to me. But
the Root score bug needs a shot clock. Yes, it does. Every score bug needs a shot clock.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was there just checking the NHL app, trying to get the shots on goal, and especially given the third period and how that worked out. That's a storyline right there.
Yeah. I'm trying to think back. Let's see. Yeah, I think the SoCal stuff has that where it's there the whole time. The like local Fox broadcasts for, I know the Ducks for sure has it all the time. I think it needs to be there. I know that was a big complaint with the ESPN broadcast too. And it sounds like this Root broadcast actually did a better job of showing it a little more frequently than the ESPN one even did. So, but yeah, shot clock, it just seems like one of those things that should be there.
Yep.
Listen to the KGR broadcast, some real strange interviews going on in there. A lot of feverish, tell me about what your dad meant to you interrogation.
Huh.
Yeah.
Obviously we didn't catch that, the KJR broadcast. Interesting.
Yeah, and I do want to real quick jump back up in the chat. We missed from Two Tones iPhone. It was drinking milk and eating donut holes with 5-year-old who starts his first hockey season at the end of the month. I would have taken the milk and the donut holes of the Gatorade personally. So good for you on that one. And then awesome for the little guy starting
what a time
hockey.
to be a parent. Little one starting hockey. I mean, that's something Dylan and I are going to look forward to eventually in our lives. It's a great time to be a parent.
Yeah, and I remember I started skating around, kind of 2 to 3 years old, kind of right around there. When I was turning 3, I started skating, started playing hockey at 4, and it was just a lot of fun. Being that young, going to the rink, get ready for it. As with all young kids sports, turns into swarm ball or swarm puck. But just like the youth soccer games, everybody's been to at least one at some point, right? Where all the kids just swarm around the ball and just wherever the ball goes, everybody goes. In hockey, you get the added benefit of they all have sticks that they're constantly tripping each other with, on top of just not being great skaters yet. And so it's always fun to watch youth hockey at that age.
Yep. You gotta enjoy it for what it is.
Okay, let's see here. Hard to believe nobody would give up a pick for Cholowski. Just saying, the Caps Ron and Xmas card. Yeah, again, it's just one of those things where they had to do it, and if you're approaching a trade, you have no leverage. The other side knows you have no leverage. So for him, you're probably looking at a 7th round pick.
Yeah,
realistically. So yeah. To be honest, with Fubo, nice to pause at end of period, do something else for 15 minutes, then come back to the game and hit play. Share the package with a buddy, so it's $35 a month for every game plus Sounders. There you go. Um,
Yep.
really liking the team we have so far. Do you think any big moves are going to happen this year? Maybe. I think the roster is pretty set. They seemingly have more people than they can play. So
Yeah, so I think you might see a smaller one, like again, moving out of defenseman, something that we predict. And a lot of it's going to depend on where they're at the trade deadline. Where they feel the team is going. If they're really good and they're the top of the division, maybe you see an addition. Whether it's a rental or someone who's signed for longer. They have the cap space to do it, but I wouldn't expect anything huge.
yeah, they're not going to go out and try to make like, an Eichel level deal. They're not in a position where they can trade away prospects really, or picks, just because they have such a limited small prospect pool to begin with as they're trying to build out the farm there. So yeah, I could see maybe some depth adds, but it feels like they have all the depth you need. I think it's one of those. Yeah, maybe if there's a goal scorer who's a rental out there, or as we talked about in the last post game, maybe you could swing something for Liney. If he's still unhappy in Columbus, I wouldn't say no to that. Was gonna say Gatorade doesn't have flavors; they have colors. Exactly, they have colors.
Yep.
No one knows the names of these flavors. Um,
Talked about Everett Fitzhugh.
Yeah,
he's a normal play guy.
out.
Yeah, he does a great job. But yeah, hopefully he's back soon.
Shots on goal was screwed up on Bally as well. Okay. It just seems like something that it seems like it should be pretty easy. Like, I don't know. But I don't do the job. And, I come from film school, so I know that there are good people behind the scenes doing that stuff. I just hope the opening game doesn't have some cringe intro. The Vegas one was cool-ish. I hope we do something decent. Yeah, I think we're going to talk about that on the podcast this week. Kind of what we want to see looking ahead to the home opener.
Yes, and we're going to talk about some game experience for those.
Yes, we will. Yes, we know many of you still wanted that. Yeah, I thought the Vegas one was actually pretty good. They do a really, really good line of towing that line of cheese and, fun kind of almost world building, the way they have, the Golden Knight and how he goes up against the rest of the league of, I forget what it was. It wasn't like the League of Shadows, but it was like the League of something. And it was obviously they meant the league. Right. And yeah, I mean, they've embraced that guy and they did some cool stuff. Projections on the ice, you and I have wanted that forever. It's been ridiculous. We've seen major junior teams do it for a long time. Why NHL clubs haven't tried to do it more is beyond me. You have this nice, white surface you can project anything you want onto in a pregame. It's wild to me, and I really like that they had, as they were introducing the starting lineup, they projected their faces and names onto the ice just like it was on the scoreboard. I thought that was really, really good.
Yeah, they utilized it really well. With the Kraken kind of coming up from underneath, that was a good job.
Gotta go. Great post game, full of insights as always. Yep, awesome. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you next time. Back to the game. Who do you put out for D-pairs in Columbus? I know I missed stuff, but seemed like Gio wasn't as involved as he normally is, either cycling or ripping off a shot. He was not as involved. Certainly not as involved as the Vegas game. I don't think you missed anything. He just, he wasn't doing much.
No, he wasn't. And I think part of that is just trying to get used to having a new D partner. It seemed like, Gio's a great player, Soucy's a great player, but they were doing their own things for a while in that game, kind of playing their own games, and I just didn't see the chemistry there. I'd put Fleury back with Gio because it looked like they at least had some chemistry together.
Agreed. I don't think we saw Soucy Giordano at all before this. Right?
No.
Has it been
no,
a practice?
I don't remember it at all.
Yeah, no. So it's
and
just...
we have actually, if you're wondering, like what they've done as far as for games for the lines on our website, we do have a line page which shows the line history from every Kraken game ever, and it's just going to continue, and we'll update it, after every game. But we've got tonight's game on there. We've got all the preseason games on there. So if you're wondering what they've done for games in the past, it's all there on the line section on the website.
Yeah. But yeah, Giordano, wasn't a huge part of it. As we said, his pairing wasn't the first pairing for the first time kind of ever. So it'll be interesting to see what they do moving forward on Saturday. Two-tone, it's the best. Had him skating at 3-2. It's a real father-son bonding thing. It's better than I have words for. Awesome. I'm so happy for you that you get to go through that with him. That's really special. Love when the little players are all pulling the hockey bags that are bigger than they are. Exactly. You got to get them.
Love it.
Got to get them started early. You're doing enough, getting up crack of dawn, driving them to practice, all that stuff, right? At least they could do.
Yeah, let them carry the bag.
Yeah, they could carry that bag that weighs twice as much as they do. I had to do it back in the day before they had wheels. So they at least have wheels these days for those kids. Yeah. We just had to straight up drag them on the ground.
Do you have to drag them on the ground uphill both ways, Dylan?
Of course, in the snow of California. Wonder what our total time of possession was. Felt like the first two periods we stayed in their zone quite a bit. Also, the defense is suffocating. Always like 2 or 3 Kraken near the puck. Yeah, unless there's Jeremy Lauzon around. That was
throwing a shot in there.
I am. It's just because Adam Larson should be playing all 60 minutes. He's so good. I'm gonna try to see. Is that in the app? Can you see that? The time of possession. Can we go back and check that? I'm checking right now. But yes, certainly through the first 2 periods, the Kraken were the better team. They were the dominant team.
And the puck pressure I love to see. You're right. There were always 2 or 3 Kraken near the puck. They were sending out the puck. I know puck pressure is an important part of what they're trying to do. And it's good. It forces mistakes. It forces turnovers. Were you able to find anything, Dylan?
No, but I can't, based on the shots on goal, they outshot them in the first period. Kraken had 12 shots. Predators only had 4.
Yeah, it's 12-4.
Yeah, even
and
at 13 in the second.
About as lopsided.
Yeah, even in the second, and then in the third, Kraken got outshot 13-1. That one goal, of course, being the empty net goal for Tanev. So yes, obviously some things need to be changed for the third period. Can't fall back and try to protect the lead that much. That's a little excessive. But, at the end of the day, they did get the win. I would say almost for sure going to be cringe, but the logo and everything has been far better than I expected, so maybe it'll be solid. Based on their Twitter videos going back to when they announced, the team name, when they've announced the logo, all that stuff, I don't think it's going to be too cringe. If anything, maybe they'll play it a little too safe, I think, as far as what they do.
Yeah. And I forget, Braun, did you say earlier something about how you thought the Vegas did? Maybe it was someone else. But the guys who are going to be in charge of that show and everything, I mean, it's Lamont Buford and it's, forgetting his first name, but Greco, I think Jeremy Greco. Those two guys, you have the people who came from Vegas. And they're not going to make it a big old, Vegas-like show, but they want to fit the city, right? What we saw in Vegas is not going to play well in Seattle, but they're going to do something that fits Seattle and that plays well in Seattle, I think. So I have confidence in what they're going to be able to do.
Yeah, I do too. Game experience vid. Hell yeah. Yes, we're going to do it. It's probably going to be on the podcast this week rather than its own standalone vid. But yes, we're going to talk about it before the home opener. We know you've been wanting that for a while. I hope they do a couple quick live streams from the game. RJ, you're going to be there. I'm not. Those tickets were very expensive.
Yes. Yeah, very expensive. I will be there though. I'll be in the building and I'll try and, kind of show you all how the experience is and everything, for those who won't be there. Check on the social media. There's going to be lots of posts, lots of stuff going on. So I'll get out as much as I can.
Who's ready for some AEW wrestlers to show up on the TNT set? Is that actually happening? I know. The other day they had Charles Barkley hop on over.
Yeah, Gretzky shooting on him.
Yeah, Gretzky shooting on him. I'm sure they will. TNT.
We're gonna see some wild stuff on the TNT set this season. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and the little bits of highlights that I saw from that, I liked it. They brought the same energy as the TNT basketball broadcast, so that's always good to see. Because I do think that they have a way of keeping it nice and relaxed, but still very informative, and it's not slow. even though it doesn't feel like, there's a tons of bells and whistles and lights flashing all over the place.
Yeah.
Planning on any other away games? Not quite yet. We don't have anything super set, but I mean, definitely we'll want to do that at some point, I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure. It's something that we want to do. We don't have any specific games planned yet, but you guys will definitely know about it if we do.
Yeah.
If and when we do.
Other than Lazon for Borgen, wanting any changes to the scratch players or forward lines? I'm trying to think. I want Yarncroak to come back.
I want Yarncroak back.
I want to see him in the lineup. Otherwise, yeah, go for it.
I was gonna say I want Hayden Fleury back in, but wait, with Susie, can you have Susie, Fleury, and Borgen? No, you can't. So I don't know.
Yeah,
anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, as far as forward lines go, obviously Johansson was out this game. It seemed like Tanev kind of stepped up into his role as far as being that guy a little higher in the lineup that, is fast. Or I guess really Barry Boulay stepped into his role as far as being on that Wenberg line and fulfilling that role of being somewhat creative, but just, being able to play with speed. Yeah, I still want my, geeky Donskoy Johansson line at some point. I just want to see what that looks like. I think that'd be a lot of fun. But
yeah, that's one thing I was going to add. Where with geeky and I think it's Donato right now, but they have Appleton and Tanev. They were kind of splitting time on that line throughout this game. I'd like to see a player just with a little more offensive creativity there, without that kind of grinder profile. I don't think it works that well. So that's a change I'd like to see.
Yeah, Appleton had a better game, I thought, tonight, but also
agreed.
But also he felt very reined in from what he normally is. So, it'll be interesting just to kind of see what's going on there and what happens moving forward. Mostly thinking how to counter Line A. Yeah, I mean, which line would you throw out there against the Line A line?
I'd probably go with,
I might try to match it with the Wenberg line.
That was what I was thinking. Possibly Wenberg. Possibly. I mean, you don't want like the fourth line. As much as they're like a grinder line, you don't want them against him. I think he's just going to beat you from a speed and skill perspective there if you do that. And I wouldn't go with the first line either. So yeah, maybe the Wenberg line.
Yeah, I just think right now he's their best shutdown center that they have until Gord comes back. And I think you don't sacrifice a ton of offense, but ultimately it'll be hard to counter that line just because it's going to be in Columbus. So Columbus is going to have say as far as line matchups go. At least, coming off of stoppages. Mark Stone just went down.
Okay. Yeah, the Golden Knights are playing the Kings right now. So
yeah,
assuming something happened in that game. Hopefully he's okay.
Yeah. But that would be a big loss for them. The Preds Twitter just put out an epic self-troll with a gave Seattle first win banner.
That is awesome. Okay, hang on. I got to see this. Yep, gave Seattle first franchise win. There's the banner.
Yeah, I really like that. I've liked how all the social media teams have been handling the Kraken so far this year. I felt like all of them have done a really good job. They've embraced us, and I think that trickles down through all the fan bases too. The salty after loss of home opener, yeah. It's
it's not even so, yeah.
It's always rough to lose that home opener. They got smashed in Smashville.
Although losing to an expansion team. Losing to an expansion team is nothing to be too ashamed of anymore, given so far the track record of the last two.
Yeah, and yes, it's not like whoever was the first team to lose to Columbus or Florida or something back in the day. Kraken Twitter has been solid too. Yeah, they have been losing to the expansion team. Yeah, Barry Boulay, Donskoy, and maybe Yarncroak. That would be I don't know. I'd still probably rather have Johansson instead of Yarncroak and just kind of put all the really creative guys together. Yarncroak while he's versatile and can play anywhere in the lineup, he has a very fundamental style of playing. And I don't know, we saw that kind of, it didn't always gel with Johansson earlier, and Johansson isn't even as, creative as Barry Boulet or Donskoy is. So, that being said, maybe that line would need Yarncroke to kind of come in and be the physical guy and the guy who's, gonna kind of be that constant, maybe net front presence, while the other two guys can, then go to work together. Do you think the lines are better when they have multiple roles on the same line, or all three guys are similar? So like a grinder line versus one scorer, a playmaker, and a grinder, or whatever. Yeah, so I guess that kind of comes off what I'm saying. Do you have a thought there, RJ?
Yeah, I think so far it's worked out where they've had similar guys together. And yeah, it seems like when they've had, a grinder with some of the creative guys, it just hasn't gone all that well. So yeah, I think probably similar guys together.
Yeah, and that's kind of traditionally how things have always been. If you can get good chemistry of somebody who's maybe a little tougher and but also smart enough to play with a highly skilled player, that's usually the problem. Is just finding guys who can play with really skilled players, who can think that fast, play at that same speed. Former Penguins fan, that was, it's been a problem with Crosby throughout his career in Pittsburgh. It's just finding guys that can gel with him because he thinks the game at a very, very high level and in a very, very unique way, and a lot of those superstar kind of guys do. So I think for the most part you want lines that kind of fulfill specific roles, but if there's chemistry with a mix and match, go for it. I think you should always embrace chemistry when it comes to these. No idea who comes out when Gord slots in anymore. It's got to be Sheahan.
Yeah, Sheahan will be the guy because it's of the centers. You're not pulling Wenberg or Geeky or McCann out. It's got to be Sheahan.
Yeah, but I think he should stay on the lineup. He should just be a scratch because I think there might be some usages for him, and it's good to have the depth in case of injury. Is because we have forwards who can play both ways. We can take more risk in having another guy putting pressure in their own zone, like when Tanev and Bastian or Donato were pretty physical. Yeah, I mean, having so many guys, like I was saying earlier, right? Just the fact that this team has depth. Almost everybody through this lineup can score a decent amount of goals, a handful of goals each year. There's nobody really out there that is like, whew, they're having a great year when they have 3 because they're really just the enforcer. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm just a fan of the chemistry. I'm actually surprised at some of the style they've wanted to play. I think in this game they wanted to embrace the kind of more speedy aspects of the team rather than just try to grind the Preds in their own zone too much on the forecheck.
Yeah, I think we've seen a little bit in both games, really, just embracing, kind of being speedy and fast. Although there was more forecheck last game, but yeah, certainly more than I had thought.
Yeah, any chance of a line brawl at the home opener, I'm okay asserting our dominance. We'll just send out Alexiak with Susie. I mean, that would be the gutsy thing to do. It would certainly send a message.
I think the Canucks traded away most of their guys who would participate in a line brawl this offseason. I don't think they've got a ton of guys left who would do that.
Yeah, the only thing you'd have to worry about is getting an instigator call, particularly if, the Canucks send out their top line and it's like, hey, we could try to get like all these guys off the ice for 5 minutes to start the game. I don't know. It would be fun, but I don't know that it would be to the Kraken's advantage to do so. That also might be crossing that line for a lot of the other fan bases. So if you want to be
hated,
if you want to be hated, that's definitely the way to do it. All of a sudden, our centers aren't a weakness anymore. Agreed. I still think they don't have one of those superstar guys. They don't have a totally offensive guru type center. I still think Yanni Gourde will be their best guy, but yes, as far as depth goes, as far as winning faceoffs goes, as far as being able to, play a two-way game and keep the other team in check, yes, the centers are not a weakness anymore in this lineup at all.
Yeah, absolutely not.
As great as it would be, I don't think it's going to happen. Did love watching half the T-Birds in the box after stuff like that, though. Yeah, I mean, line brawls are fun. Fights in general are always a good way to liven up the crowd and stuff.
Certainly in junior hockey.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Geeky held off two guys on a drop in their zone. Impressive. Yeah, that was literally the one thing we knew about Morgan Geeky when they took him in the expansion draft, was that he's a face-off guy. After the kick goal, do you see Vegas as a rival? Yeah, I mean, that is a way to start a rivalry, is to have a controversial moment like that. You could also say the Kraken bringing up, not the Kraken, the Golden Knights bringing up the Geeky celebration and all that is also a good way to start a rivalry on their end, as far as just, complaining about something the other team did and then pissing off the Kraken.
And on Vegas' side, they haven't shied away from it. I mean, as much as we love it, like, you've got the Leonard guarantee, you've got the Golden Knights Twitter account talking about, you couldn't get a player from us, that kind of thing. And they haven't shied away from it either.
Yeah, and there's just that inherent, they're the two new kids on the block. Obviously, it's season 5 for Vegas rather than the first couple games for the Kraken, but I think there's something to be said for that one as well. You say lacks top end talent. I say less vulnerable to injury absences. Potato. Yeah, I mean, that is one of those things. We're seeing it. They don't have Yanni Gourde, who's probably their best center, and they seem to be doing just fine. So that is definitely one way to look at it. Although, I mean, those Penguins beating up on the Lightning like that without Crosby or Malkin. I mean, maybe that's just the way this league should go. Maybe that's why no one's...
The Lightning barely escaping with a 7-6 win over Detroit tonight, so who knows what's up with them.
I'm loving these high-scoring games, though.
Yeah.
It's a good break from everything. Just a hypothetical, let's say we did somehow get Eichel and kept most of our core veterans. How would his style do in our system? I think it would do just fine. Again, right now, it doesn't totally look like the Kraken have a set system. They don't really have a set transition game that they're trying to do. So in that sense, I think he could just slot it and he could help dictate what the system becomes.
Right.
Otherwise, I could just see him essentially doing what McCann's doing, but just, probably better.
Yeah. And with a player like Eichel, as skilled as he is, I mean, I don't think that he's ever going to be a bad fit, for a team that he's on. I just think a player like that, he can play however you want to play. He's that skilled. He can play well defensively and be like a 60, 70 point guy, or he can, if you put him with guys with a lot of talent and just play all out offensively, he could be a 90, 100 point guy. He's just that good.
Yeah, for sure. Vegas is getting spanked by LA. Love to see it.
4-1.
Yeah, more. Nice. We're seeing a decent amount of upsets so far this year.
Yeah.
More likely to keep a goal a game pace through the season, Tanev or McCann? I'll go back to my shooters got to shooter score goals, so I'll say McCann just because of his shot volume so far. But McCann, he had that breakaway, didn't quite get it done in that first game. Had a couple nice looks today. Tanev, if he stays on the power play, he stays in those dirty areas around the net front, maybe
82 goal season, Brent Tanev.
Yeah, it could happen. No, it's a hypothetical, but the injury concern and cost for Eichel would be nuts. Probably starts with multiple firsts and maybe even Beniers. Yeah, I mean, it would be a lot.
It starts with Beniers, and then you're talking how many firsts after that.
Yeah, and it's, it doesn't make sense for the Kraken to trade for anybody big, like we were saying earlier, when you're still trying to build out your prospect pool. But, hypotheticals are still always fun. It gives us, in our job, something to talk about.
For sure.
So I won't shy away from them, that's for sure. Was impressed by the big rig. Yep, Alexiak felt like he had a great game this game. He was physical. He stepped up offensively. He was pinching into the offensive zone. You mentioned him participating in the forecheck. I thought he looked really, really good. This was, including preseason, I think this was definitely his best game so far.
Agreed. I think he showed the range of all the things he can do, and what kind of makes him unique is one of those bigger guys, but who can also contribute offensively, who can also move the puck and is so agile. It's a rare combination that he has, and I think he showed it off tonight.
You guys should include a top 5 player jersey to buy and update it weekly depending on who is playing well. That would be an interesting way of kind of just, who we've liked so far, who's playing well. That would be an interesting kind of setup for that.
Like a power rankings type of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, anyone who hasn't seen it is still wondering what jersey to get. I made a jersey flow chart. It's like on the website. It's on Twitter. Actually, it's like popped it back up on Twitter tonight. I was just checking the notifications. So yeah, there's a jersey flow chart if you haven't seen that yet.
Yeah. Real quick, top 5 players off the top of your head so far.
Okay. Tanev's got to be there
For sure.
I mean, Grubauer.
Yeah.
In no particular order, I guess.
Yeah.
Alexiak. I'm still with Yanni Gord. Like, I know he hasn't done anything this regular season, obviously, but Yanni Gord, and then, all right, who do I want to throw in there? Oh, Geeky, Morgan Geeky. There you go.
Yeah, I'd probably go Tanev, Grubauer, Geeky. I'll go ahead and say Jared McCann, throw him in there, and then Adam Larson, guys. Like,
yep,
let's go.
Dylan's gonna get that started.
Yeah, I am. I'm gonna get that Larson jersey soon. Doesn't play a sexy game, but it's a vital one. Big Rig held against them Predators. Yep. On that one semi breakaway he had, he looks so slow because he is huge. Well, yeah, it's that classic. My sister's the geophysics major going for her doctorate. She could explain why that is. I can't, but yes, it's that classic. The bigger they are, the slower they look. He did, but he had a great game. Love what he saw at Abari Boulais too. Yep, we talked about him a lot earlier. I think he's going to fit in really well, and I do like him with Wenberg just because they're both good distributors. They kind of think that same way, and I think we saw that on the Wenberg goal.
Yep.
Getting a Ron Francis Whalers jersey, I like that.
Can't go wrong there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one to get to. Love the jersey flowchart. Took me to Tanev, but I still go Grubauer. Yep, can't go wrong with either of those two guys.
Yep.
Yeah, Donato has actually played pretty good. That's a good one.
Yeah, and first goal in franchise history too. That's something that'll always be the case, and you could always point at the jersey like, look, guy who scored the first goal. I know there were some people who said they were going to do that. They were going to wait until it was the first goal and do that.
Yeah, and that's a pretty cool way to choose what jersey you get. I think that's a good one. Larson looks solid too. Yeah.
Thank you, Braun.
Yeah, thank you, Braun.
For Gatorade. Appreciate it.
Yes, definitely appreciate that.
They are vital. They are so important on certain days to get those Gatorades. So we really appreciate it, Braun. Thank you for your support.
Yes, thank you. What do you guys think? Prediction for the Blue Jacket game?
Ooh. All right, so we know the Blue Jackets going to score 8 because they did that last night. So let's say 8-9 Kraken. No. I think, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised to see another 4-3 game. The 4-3. I'll go 4-3 Kraken.
Yeah.
In overtime.
Oh, okay. That could be a good spot to see our first overtime game. I'm gonna go 5-3 Kraken because of the empty netter. I think Columbus might have blown their wad a little bit in this game. 8 goals. I don't think we can expect that from them night in, night out, especially against a defensive team like this.
Yep. Sergeant Pickles, Green Apple, best flavor, fight me. Oh, we've got the Gatorade wars going on in the super chat. Love to see it.
I don't think
Green apple flavor. I don't think I've tried it.
I don't think I've tried it either, but yeah, I guess I'll have to now.
Green apple. So I'm wondering what shade of green that is because I don't remember seeing like.
That's got to be the darker green, right?
Okay.
Actual green, like the lemon line's like that weird toxic fuel color.
That's rarer, right? Yeah, because I don't see that around very much. Green apple. Okay, I got to try that.
Yeah,
we'll use that money to try a green apple Gatorade.
Yep. It's on you, Sergeant Pickles. Kings 4, Vegas 1. I guess the game's over, probably.
No, it's not.
Oh no,
it was in the second period last I saw. Okay. So yeah.
Tony predicted a win, 4-3 like first game.
Yep. So Jim agrees with me.
Yeah, in overtime. I couldn't help but think about how exciting a playoff run would be after our win tonight. Yep, and I think it could easily happen.
And playoff hockey is a whole other experience. I mean, we're getting regular season games in now, but man, it ramps up to a whole nother level, as the hockey fans know. But seeing it for Seattle will just be something else.
Yeah, and we talked about that. This team is built for playoff hockey. The size they have, the physical aspect, the depth of scoring, all that stuff comes into play in the playoffs far more than it does in the regular season. Kraken just got to get there, and then they should be a force to be reckoned with. Pacific weak division looks pretty strong early. Yeah, some teams are showing up. I did when we did do our preview. I thought the Kings were going to take a step forward this year.
Looks like they're showing it so far.
Yeah. Although they lost Byfield, right?
Yeah, and that's going to be tough for them.
And for a while, because I thought he was really going to come in and do a lot for them. But we'll see. It's still early. Yeah. Sergeant Pickle. Oh yeah, come back at Sergeant Pickle's lime cucumber. I didn't know that was a flavor either.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then
white cherry, man, put them up, bro. It's the forest green. You're talking about the green apple. Okay.
Yeah, they're talking about the Gatorade flavors. White cherry's not too bad. I'm just not a fan of cherry flavored stuff in general. It's the forest green. Okay.
I like the white cherry.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I know a lot of people like that stuff. I just cherry candies, cherry cough syrup, and it's just never.
Well, that's why my mom doesn't like cherry stuff.
Yeah. So it's
reminds me of cough syrup.
But you know what? I'm a terrible, horrible, picky eater that doesn't like most things. So,
Yeah, I think we've touched on that a little bit in the past. I'm sure it'll come up again in the future.
Yeah. But much like chess, the king is greater than the knight. That's a really, really good one. All solid choices on the Gatorade front. I know we're all hyper focused on the game coming soon, but what are one or two coming within a few weeks that you think we should circle? Well, obviously the home opener for one.
Yeah.
Let's
take a look at the calendar. Can we get a good calendar here?
Montreal's always fun, especially because of the history with the Metropolitans. I think Montreal coming to town, that would be a really good night for the Kraken to do some stuff and talk about the history and talk about those early Stanley Cups and stuff. I don't know that the game will necessarily be very good. I think the Kraken should win that game, but that's something that I would be excited for. That first game against Edmonton on the 1st of November, I want to see that. I want us to, kind of come back and try to.
The Oilers seem to have the Kraken's number in a lot of ways.
Yeah, so I want to see what that looks like at full speed.
And then I guess Vegas, November 9th. I think it'll be the first time that the Kraken have played a team for the second time. Kind of a first rematch type of thing. 2 games in the regular season, so that'd be another one.
Yeah, and maybe they'll be trying to avenge their only loss at that point.
You never know.
It's possible.
It is.
Sabres won tonight. Yeah, see, that tells you all.
That's how you know it's crazy.
To go. Yeah. All you need to know. It's forest green. It's not forest green. It's like neon. Lol.
Okay.
The green apple, best flavor. So, I can't imagine it looks any more like jet fuel than the lemon lime though. Playoff hockey is real when the stubble turns to 2-month-old face rug. Yeah, exactly.
For you anyway.
Yes, some of us, not others.
You'll see come playoff time. I can't really grow any good facial hair. I have tried. It turned out really bad. I'm sure you all see that picture at some point. We'll throw it up somewhere on a video. It's not good. It's not good.
Yeah. 4:00 Saturday game is cool. Yes. I made a commitment a while ago on that Saturday night, so I'm not going to be around too long in the post game. Just because before we even established we were doing these post games, I had set something up, but I'll be around for the start of that. I've been impressed by how long these are going, as we just passed the 1.5 mark. This has been really awesome. I don't think either of us thought it would turn into this.
Thanks everyone for sticking with us.
Yeah. Canucks first home game. Yep, that's definitely one to be excited about. Barré-Boulet looked pretty solid for his first game with the team. Totally, he felt like he fit in really, really well for them, considering basically no time playing with them at all.
Yeah, agreed. And with someone like Johansson who was out, he kind of fit right into that spot, and I think did even a little better than what I've seen from Johansson. But the type of player fit was there, and it's good that he can play on the wing and be effective too.
Mm-hmm. Uh, how would you go about some way of honoring the 1917 team? Can we pull off a banner without the Preds style jokes? I would love to see a banner for the Metropolitans. I think that would be really, really cool as a way of honoring them. I don't think we've heard of anything. A lot of arenas around the league, they'll have kind of sections in the concourse that has memorabilia from either the area's hockey history or that team's specific hockey history. I don't know that we've heard or seen anything from the Kraken about that, but I'd love to see some stuff. I know there's some stuff from the Metropolitans in the Hockey Hall of Fame in Toronto, but it'd be really cool if there was some of that in Climate Pledge. Otherwise, hey, maybe surprise third alternate jerseys.
Yes,
Metropolitans.
that has to happen eventually. It has to. It has to, and I think it will. I mean, I think it would sell so well. Can you? I mean, not they need any more help with selling jerseys, given how they've done so far. But like, whenever you need to break glass in case of emergency, you want a whole bunch of more jersey sales. Yeah, just do it. Do a Metropolitans third jersey for sure.
I was gonna say it would definitely hurt all our wallets to have to go out and buy those again.
Oh yeah.
Banner would be awesome. Bruins fan here. I had Major Grizzly Adams beard in 2011. It's awesome,
nice.
though. It's a great way to show support with the team. I know this is off topic, but what are your figures in the back? Okay, so yeah, back there in the display cases, I have a bunch of action figures. And so when I was, really young, I of course played with Star Wars action figures. That's how I started storytelling. That ultimately turned into me going to school for screenwriting. That was my major in college. Came back around to these. One of my classes was a production class in college, and my instructor did a lot of forced perspective stuff and a lot of stop motion stuff. And so I kind of got into that, and it, again, it kind of reattached me to the stuff I did as a kid as far as making up stories and all that. And I got into toy photography. So I kind of keep them all set up back there as my muses, just, pose them up, kind of gets me thinking about shots I want to go and do. And I do toy photography. If you want to check it out, I'm on Instagram. It's at Happy Nihilist Photos. It's just something fun I've done. Been published though, so that's kind of pretty cool, considering what it is. But yeah, that's the deal with all that back there. You guys really enjoy your videos. I'm sad to see Cholowski go on waivers. Yeah, we talked about that earlier, but for every Cholowski that goes, we get a Bari Boulay who comes in. So, it's one of those. You guys should go as Tanev and Schwartz for Halloween. We could definitely, I think, pull that off.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, we got the looks for each. That's a good one.
Yeah. I meant to ask earlier, but anything we can do for the power play? I know we scored, but definitely seems when they bunker on us, the quality shots disappear. Okay, as far as the power play, I think, again, it just needs a system at this point. Just like the transition game, all that stuff. We just need a system to be implemented. Figure out whether, I think it should be the point man who's the trigger man for the power play, but something needs to happen beyond just this kind of passing around and seeing if anything develops.
And there's no set plays either, and that's just because they haven't had time to practice them or to implement them. When you watch other teams' power plays, you can tell they have kind of set looks that they try and create, and the Kraken haven't really even attempted to do anything like that. And having been to training camp every single day and watching what they've done, they just haven't had the time to implement those things. Nor do I think they want to do that with a whole bunch of fans watching either. I think that's the kind of thing that sometimes you try and do when you have less people scoping out your practice or your morning skate. So I think that will come, just not with a whole bunch of Kraken fans in the stands taking video.
Yeah, but I think once they have some form of system in place and the players kind of know what to be setting up, I think that'll improve the power play and kind of take care of the issues. But got 2 power play goals tonight. Can't that's pretty good.
Yep, you'll take that.
What's your take on the
Oregonian article about the Kraken being a Seattle team versus Pacific Northwest team? I don't agree with it, but it's interesting that the org went with Seattle. So I haven't read that. Have you?
Yeah, no, I haven't read that either. So
yeah, maybe explain or kind of what the argument is there.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, I do understand as far as yes, they've kind of embraced the city a lot through some of their imagery. They a lot of their kind of world building stuff as far as explanations about the jerseys and some of the stuff they've gone into is very much Seattle and the sound centric as far as rather than being all across. But that being said, I feel like they've embraced like Alaska a lot. They've made a big push for up there. Um, yeah, I guess they haven't really reached down too much into Oregon or maybe over into Idaho. But, I think Seattle has been without hockey for basically 100 years at the NHL level, I should say. Obviously, we talked earlier about all the great like WHL teams and stuff they've had. So I just think, they kind of wanted to do that at first, and, we'll see if they go out from there.
yeah,
But I'll definitely check that out.
yeah, me too.
Go for the infamous Schwartz Bertuzzo photo.
You doing that one for Halloween, Dylan?
Uh,
Okay, I saw that comment in the chat. For those who I could just like show it on my phone, we'll see if it's not gonna be high quality, but there it is.
yeah,
Get an idea. Um, you know what? I don't like this because I think you'd be Bortuzzo.
I was gonna say
I don't like this for me.
Yeah. But I'd be down. I'd be
Maybe.
down for that.
Yeah, of course you would.
One of these days we need a vid on how the heck you became an amateur scout. Yeah, I could definitely do
Yes, we
something
do.
about that because it is an interesting story. So yes, I could talk about that sometime in the future. Uh, I don't get it. I have family in Montana that are on board with the Kraken. Yeah, the Kraken's reach is pretty strong. So yeah, we'll see. Uh, Happy Nihilist photos, sick pics on Instagram, Dylan. Thank you very much. Yeah,
This is wrong, but the
that's
Mariners
good.
falling short and the Seahawks losing is bringing new fans to hockey. You know what? I think as much as I want all the Seattle sports teams to succeed, I mean, I think the Kraken would have a lot of excited people anyway. But man, seeing the excitement over the Mariners in that push toward the playoffs, I mean, if they were still around and playing right now, a lot of the focus would still be on them, and that's just because they have a great fan base. I mean, like Mariners fans are awesome, and they love that team, and they really want them to get back to the playoffs. And yeah, the Seahawks, Russell Wilson being out for 4 to 8 weeks or something with the finger injury. It's not going to be pretty. We'll see how Geno Smith does, but I don't know.
Yeah. And going down to that last comment, same thing happened with the Sounders when the Sonics left. Yeah, I just think Seattle is a really, really good sports town. Whatever team's going on any given night is going to be the team that the city is rooting for. And that's just really good to see. If Dylan hasn't already, I'm sure he's going full tan of Ghost Portrait. He has the hair for it. Yes.
We got to do that. We got to recreate
I
it
know.
with the hair and everything. Do the Tanev.
Yeah.
That one would be pretty popular, I think.
Yeah, I do too. Have either of
Oh,
you
I get
ever
to tell a
gone?
story.
Yep. All right. Story time from RJ about whether or not we've ever gone as an NHL player for Halloween before.
Okay. Yes, I have. And it was a fun story, and it was something that went a little viral on Twitter. So a few Halloweens ago, I don't know if any of you like hockey fans remember this, but there was a photo that was taken of Joe Thornton and Brent Burns walking around. Walking around, I think it was Pittsburgh, and you have Joe Thornton shirtless, just holding a cup and everything with his beard, and you got Burns next to him, just in a shirt, and it kind of made the rounds on Twitter. It went viral early in the year, and so me as a Sharks fan at the time, I thought of that photo when I was thinking of a Halloween costume, and so my girlfriend Kat and I, recreated it, and of course I went shirtless as Joe Thornton, and I had a little beard thing with a strap there, and she went as Brent Burns. She had a little put a little tattoo sleeve on and had the shirt on and did a big beard, and so yeah, we were Burns and Thornton for Halloween, and we tweeted it at the Sharks. The Sharks picked it up, and so we won Hockey Halloween that year. So yeah, that was a popular one. Brent Burns even responded to it. He's like, "I love it. Have a great night." So yeah, that's my Hockey Halloween story. It's gonna be tough to top that one.
Yeah, and I don't think I ever have actually. Maybe when I was really young and I just don't quite remember. But yeah, that story is pretty good. Another random video idea: top 10 dumb unwritten rules in hockey. Yeah, number one, kick rule. We could definitely do that at some point. There are a lot. Uh, Hockey is one of those. There is, of course, the code, which has been a topic of conversation for a while now. The last couple seasons, as fighting is slowly working its way out of the game. So yeah, that is a good video idea. We can always count on you, Sergeant Pickles, for those.
Yep.
But yeah, that's we're a little over an hour and 40 into this. Chat seems to be slowing down. Yeah, I think we can probably call this one. This has been another absolutely fantastic post-game show. Thank you everybody who's stopped by, contributed in the chat. Any plans for a game meetup / watch party? I know 32 crew is setting stuff up for that. I don't know that we do. We've talked about maybe doing like a watch along stream type thing, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. Stay tuned for that. We're
Yeah,
thinking about doing something like that. So
yeah, we're looking into that, but we'll keep you posted. Yeah, thank all of you for joining us. Yeah, we'll see you after that Columbus game on Saturday. First Kraken win. It's been
yes,
a great day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been awesome. Take care, everybody. We'll see you next time.
See you after the Columbus game.
Yeah.